And I study the history of gender and religion and violence, and so I spend a lot of time looking at the history of witches. And so I said to myself, well, it was a what-if question, like Kirsten had, where if the things like the Inquisition and the Salem witch trials weren't just parts of human history, but actually were parts of a secret war between two factions of witches that's been going on since the 1400s and occasionally spills out into our world, and it's still going on today. So that's how the world emerged to include the wolves.
We done? Does anyone in the audience have a question? No question?
Okay, primarily this question is for Greta, just because I want to know, is Roswell's name, is there a reason for Roswell's name?
Not a good one.
And so to all of you, on naming of your characters, do you put a lot of thought into naming them a certain name like Hava, and and the names that you give the characters? Like I just found with Roswell that he could get up with the weird and the crazy, and I just thought that was a perfect name for that character. So.
For me, my names are almost always so spontaneous, and I don't always even particularly like the names, but they just stick, and I have to get used to them. And if I ever have to change a character's name, it's really hard to get used to that because it always seems to make them into a slightly different character if I give them a different name.
Yeah, I mean, names are really, really important because they do end up defining a character in a lot of ways. And I spend a lot of time thinking about what to name. Like, it's probably one of the hardest things about writing for me. But one of the ways that I get past that is I actually steal people's names on a fairly regular basis. And I've always kept a little notebook of names that I thought were really, really interesting. And not that long ago, I was in a cab. I live in New York, and I was in a cab with a female cab driver, which is like the rarest thing on earth. You never see a female cab driver. And she's kind of awesome. I looked up at her name, and her name was Bellatrix. And I thought, that is a great villain name. And she would wear Lee press-on nails and raise chinchillas. It just came to me. But I'll also, like, if I'm watching the credits on a movie, I'm one of the people who will actually sit in the audience and read the credits because I really admire their work, but also because I'm stealing their names.
Names are really important to me, and I have to spend a lot of time on them because if I don't have the right name for a character, I actually can't write about them. When I was little, my mom showed me the book that she and my dad used to pick our names, my brother and I's names, and it was this book that was published in the 70s called Name Your Baby. And I took it and became absolutely obsessed because it was just this book full of names and their origin and their meaning. And you can see my little 8-year-old self, what names I really liked because I circled them. It's like, apparently when I was 8, I really liked the name Jesta. I do not think I would make it into it. But the meaning of the name is really important to me. All the names have significance. In the world of Nightshade, the Nightshade pack are all names of English origin because that's where the pack originates, and the baby pack is all French names.
I didn't have much thought in it. For the futuristic names, there's typical names that we already had to kind of twist them a little bit, like Victoria was from Victoria, things like that, but I'm not as clever as y'all.
Whenever your books are in space. For my contemporary novels, I just used contemporary names that I liked. But it was a little bit harder with the society match because I felt like they would have different names, but they would not be that different. Like just maybe a little more classical or a little